For 40 years, I kept a secret that the federal government would kill to protect. I'm 67 years old now, and I've spent more than half my life caring for a creature that shouldn't exist, but does. My name is Henry Dalton. I own 300 acres of timberland in the Cascade Mountains of Washington State, and what I'm about to tell you could cost me my freedom, my property, and possibly my life. But after what the feds did when they found out, I can't stay silent anymore. In 1985, I found an injured Bigfoot on my land. I was 27, newly inherited my grandfather's property, and had no idea that decision to help a wounded animal would define the rest of my life. For 4 decades, I fed her, protected her, hid her from the world. She became family, the only family I had left. I gave up marriage, children, a normal life. I turned down every offer to sell my land, refused every hunter who asked permission, lied to every ranger who came asking questions. The government doesn't want you to know these creatures exist. They've known for 70 years, maybe longer. They've been watching, tracking, containing. And when they realized I had proof, living, breathing proof, they didn't come to study her or protect her species. They came to take her, to make sure no one would ever believe me, to erase 40 years like they never happened. This is the story they ordered me never to tell. The story of Ada, the name I gave her, and what it cost us both when the secret finally broke. The morning started ordinary enough. 3 months after burying my grandfather, I was still trying to figure out what to do with the 300 acres he'd left me. The timber was valuable, old-growth Douglas fir, western hemlock, cedar that had been standing since before the Civil War. Logging companies called weekly with offers. Development firms sent letters promising me enough money to retire at 27. I wasn't interested in their money. This land had been in my family since 1923. My grandfather had built the cabin with his own hands, cut the access road with a team of horses, raised my mother here before she moved to Seattle, and forgot where she came from. When she died in a car accident and left me orphaned at 19, Grandpa took me in, taught me the land, taught me logging, taught me that some things matter more than money. He'd been dead 3 months, and I still heard his voice in every cedar grove. That morning I was walking the southern property line, assessing timber value, mostly because I needed something to do. Early fall in the Cascades, temperature around 48 degrees, mist hanging in the valleys, that smell of wet earth and Douglas fir that I'd known my whole life. The old logging roads Grandpa cut in the 50s were overgrown but still passable. I followed one about 1.5 miles from the cabin, checking for storm damage, marking hazard trees in my mind. That's when I heard it. Not deer. I'd heard deer my whole life. Not elk, not bear, not cougar. Something crashing through brush, but wrong, irregular, labored, like something heavy trying to move but couldn't quite manage it. I thought maybe livestock from the neighbor's place 5 miles south. Though Roger Penske didn't run cattle this far into the forest, still, injured animal was injured animal. Grandpa taught me you don't leave things to suffer if you can help. I followed the sound through thick undergrowth, salal and ferns, soaking my jeans to the knee. The smell hit me before I saw anything. Musky, powerful, like wet fur but wilder, not bear musk, not cougar. Something I'd never smelled before, and I'd smelled every animal in these mountains. The sound of breathing, hard, pained, desperate. I rounded a massive cedar deadfall and froze. 30 feet away, slumped against a rock face, was something my brain couldn't process. At first, for maybe 2 full seconds, I thought it was a person in a costume. Had to be. Except it wasn't. My eyes were telling me one thing, my brain was screaming another, and neither made sense. She was sitting, but even sitting, she was massive. 7.5 feet tall at least, shoulders broad as a doorframe, covered head to toe in dark, reddish-brown hair, matted with blood. Her left leg was bent at an angle legs don't bend. White bone visible through fur and torn skin. Compound fracture. Bad one. Her right arm cradled the injury. Her face was turned toward me. The eyes stopped me from running. Dark brown, almost black, deep set under a prominent brow ridge. But the intelligence in them, that's what froze me. These weren't animal eyes. These were eyes that thought, that assessed, that understood. Eyes that were looking at me and making decisions about what I was and whether I was a threat. Female, I realized. Breast tissue visible despite the hair, facial features softer than you'd expect from something this massive. She was watching me watch her, both of us locked in mutual evaluation. I'd grown up on Bigfoot stories. Every kid in the Pacific Northwest knew about Patterson-Gimlin footage, about campfire tales, about grainy photographs that proved nothing. But those were stories, hoaxes, myths. This was real. She was real. Bleeding and dying 30 feet from me, absolutely and impossibly real. She was approximately 7.5 feet tall sitting down, which meant standing she'd be over 8 feet. Had to weigh 500-600 pounds. Her hair was coarse, longer than human hair, that reddish-brown color, like old redwood bark. Her face, flat nose, wide jaw, receding forehead, wasn't human, but it wasn't quite ape either. Something in between, something different. Her hands were massive, twice the size of mine, 4 fingers plus thumb with dark leathery palms. Not claws, fingernails, like a person. The blood pooling around her leg was red, mammalian, clotting normally. The wound itself was catastrophic. Compound fracture of the femur, bone protruding maybe 8 inches below the hip joint. Blood loss, shock setting in, infection guaranteed without treatment. We stared at each other for what felt like hours, but was probably 20 seconds. She didn't growl, didn't threaten, didn't try to scare me off. Just watched, breathing in short, pained gasps. One massive hand pressed against the wound, trying to stop bleeding that wouldn't stop. She knew she was vulnerable. I could see her deciding whether to trust that I wouldn't hurt her, worse than she was already hurt. My grandfather's training kicked in before my fear did. I'd helped him with injured animals my whole childhood, set broken legs on deer, treated shot-up hunting dogs, even nursed a black bear cub once after its mother was killed by poachers. This was just another injured animal, except it wasn't. Those eyes knew I was lying to myself. Fear hit me then, primal and overwhelming. This was impossible. Bigfoot was campfire stories and hoaxes and tabloid nonsense. Couldn't be real. But she was real, and she was dying right in front of me. I could see shock setting in. Visible skin looked grayish, shaking starting despite the fur. The bone break was severe. Infection, inevitable. She wouldn't survive the night without help. I had medical supplies back at the cabin, veterinary antibiotics I'd bought for livestock I didn't own yet but planned to get, splinting materials, pain medication. But could I even treat something this big, this impossible? I took one step backward. She tensed, tried to shift her weight, and cried out, a sound that was half human scream, half animal bellow, full of agony that hit me like a physical blow. That sound decided me. You don't leave any thinking creature to die in pain, not if you can help, not if you're the kind of person my grandfather raised. I held up both hands, palms out, universal gesture of peace. Easy, easy, okay? I'm going to help you. My voice shook. I need to go get supplies, medical supplies. I'm coming back. She watched me, didn't move. Couldn't move, probably. I pointed back the way I'd come, then to her injured leg, trying to communicate through gesture what words couldn't convey. Stay here. I'll be back, I promise. I backed away slowly, maintaining eye contact until I was 50 feet away and trees blocked the view. Then I ran. Running back to the cabin, my mind raced through options. I could call authorities, Forest Service, Fish and Wildlife, even the sheriff. They'd come with guns and tranquilizers and cages. They'd kill her or capture her, probably both. Scientists would dissect her. Media would turn my property into a circus. And deeper than practical concerns, deeper than legal worries, was an instinct I couldn't ignore. She was a person. Not legally, maybe not even scientifically, but those eyes. She was someone. Someone dying and alone. You don't turn someone over to be dissected or displayed like a trophy. My grandfather's voice in memory, clear as if he was standing beside me. On this land, we protect what needs protecting. Don't matter if it's legal or popular, matters if it's right. By the time I reached the cabin, my decision was made. I was going to try to save her, and I was going to keep her secret. I gathered everything I could think of: the veterinary medical kit with surgical supplies, antibiotics meant for horses and cattle, canvas and lumber for splinting, rope, blankets, 50 gallons of water in collapsible containers, high-protein food. Also brought Grandpa's rifle, not to use but just in case. Just in case of what? I didn't know. 90 minutes after I'd left her, I was back. She was still there, weaker, skin grayer where I could see it. Her eyes tracked my approach with supplies, watching me with an intensity that was both unnerving and reassuring. She was conscious, aware, still fighting. I knelt 10 feet away and started talking, voice low and steady like Grandpa taught me for spooked animals. "I'm going to set your leg. It's going to hurt. I'm sorry about that, but the bone needs to go back inside or you'll lose the leg. Lose the leg, you die out here. So we're going to do this together, okay? You and me." I showed her each item: the splint boards, the canvas wrapping, the antibiotic syringe, demonstrated on my own arm how the splint would work. She watched everything intently, and I swear she understood. Maybe not the words, but the intent. The next 3 hours were the worst of my life. Cleaning the wound came first. I used water and antiseptic, trying to be gentle but needing to be thorough. She allowed it, but her hands gripped a small sapling beside her, and the wood cracked under the pressure. The sound she made, low, controlled, agonized, would haunt my dreams for months. Setting the bone was worse. I had to manipulate the fracture, pull hard to align the break, push the protruding bone back through the wound. She roared when I pulled, a sound that probably carried for miles, that sent birds exploding from trees and my own hands shaking with terror. But she held still, didn't strike me, didn't pull away, trusted me enough to endure it. The splinting took another hour, lumber and canvas wrapped tight, secured with rope, immobilizing the leg completely. Then the antibiotic injection, massive dose, horse-sized, into her shoulder muscle. She jerked but accepted it, understanding somehow that it was necessary. By sunset she was splinted, bandaged, medicated. I'd brought food and water, more blankets for warmth. She was too heavy to move, had to stay here, which meant I'd have to come daily. The southern property line was 1.5 miles from the cabin, manageable hike, but it meant commitment. "I'll be back tomorrow morning," I told her as darkness fell. She was nearly unconscious from pain and exhaustion, but her eyes found mine. "You're going to be okay. I promise. I'll make sure." I don't know if she understood, but I meant it. The first week was survival, pure and simple. I hiked the 1.5 miles twice daily, morning and evening, carrying supplies in a military surplus backpack Grandpa used for his trapline. Water was the biggest challenge. She drank 10 to 15 gallons a day. I hauled it in collapsible containers, refilling from the creek that ran through the southern acreage. Food was easier. She was omnivorous, accepting fruits, vegetables, dried meat, nuts, energy bars. I crushed aspirin into her water for pain management. She didn't object, seemed to understand it helped. By day 5, the wound was draining properly, infection avoided through sheer luck and penicillin. By day 7, she was stronger, more alert, attempting to shift position on her own. I talked to her constantly during those first weeks, explained what I was doing, told her about my day, about Grandpa, about the weather, about anything to fill the silence. Partly to keep her calm, partly to keep myself from panicking over what I'd committed to. 8 weeks minimum for bone healing, probably longer for something her size. I was in this for months, maybe longer. She tolerated my presence but didn't welcome it, watched me constantly with those intelligent eyes, assessing. I was useful, necessary, but not yet trusted. Week 3 brought the first real communication. I arrived one morning to find her holding out her water bucket, 5-gallon container, empty. She was offering it to me, asking for a refill. Such a simple gesture, but I nearly dropped my supplies. She was asking, communicating need, understanding that I could help. "You want water?" "Okay, I've got water." My voice cracked with emotion I didn't understand yet. She waited patiently while I refilled the bucket, then drank deeply. When finished, she made a sound, low rumble, almost like a purr. Thank you? Acknowledgement? I didn't know, but it felt like progress. Week 5, she started gesturing. Pointed to her splint, then at me, then made a tightening motion. The splint was loosening. She was telling me what she needed. I tightened it, and she nodded. Actually nodded. Human gesture or something evolved separately, but meaning the same thing. Week 6 brought gift exchange. I'd brought blackberries, season was in full swing, and I'd picked 10 pounds that morning. She tasted one cautiously, then made an excited sound and devoured the entire container. The next day when I arrived, there was a pile of chanterelle mushrooms beside her sleeping area. Perfect specimens. Carefully collected, she'd gathered them somehow despite limited mobility. She was giving back. Week 8, a severe rainstorm rolled through. I debated staying home. Trails were treacherous, visibility near zero, but worry won over caution. I made the trek, arrived soaked and shaking from cold. She saw me, made a concerned sound I'd never heard before, and gestured to the space beside her under the rock overhang. Dry space, protected from wind, invitation to sit. I sat. She shifted her massive body to block the wind from hitting me directly. We sat together for 2 hours while the storm raged, not speaking, just existing together in companionable silence. That's when I first understood we'd moved past patient and caretaker. We were becoming friends. Month 3, the splint came off. I held my breath as she tested weight on the healed leg. She stood slowly, wobbling, favoring the injured side but holding. 3 steps, careful and measured. I reached out instinctively to steady her, my hand on her forearm, human gesture of support. She looked down at my hand, then at my face and allowed the touch. Acceptance after 3 months of careful distance. The next week she was walking better, still limping but mobile. She could have left then. Headed deeper into the forest, disappeared, lived however she'd lived before. She stayed. Made no move to leave, in fact seemed to settle more deeply into the area. I didn't understand why and was afraid to question it. Month 4, I had to go to town for supplies. First time I'd left the property for more than a few hours since finding her. I explained the night before, using gestures. Me walking away, sun rising and setting, me returning. She watched intently, then nodded once. Understanding. When I returned 30 hours later, she was waiting. Made a sound when she heard me coming. Greeting, unmistakable in tone. She'd missed me. I realized I'd missed her too, had worried the entire time I was gone that she'd leave while I was away. Month 5, she was fully mobile. Could range for miles, her tracks showing up across the southern property. But every evening, she returned to the cedar deadfall, her spot, her chosen territory on my land. She'd decided to stay near me. I started building better shelter, a proper lean-to structure, camouflaged but waterproof, with space for her to move around. I brought materials over several weeks, working on it during my visits. She watched with interest, then started helping. Lifted logs I couldn't possibly move alone, held poles steady while I secured them. We built it together, and somehow that felt profoundly important. Month 9, I named her. I'd been calling her or you for months, and it felt wrong, disrespectful. She was a person, and persons have names. My grandmother had been named Ada, strongest, kindest woman I'd ever known. The name felt right. "Can I call you Ada?" I asked one evening. She tilted her head, curious. I repeated, "Ada." Pointed to myself, "Henry." Pointed to her, "Ada." She rumbled, considering, then reached out one massive hand, gently touched my chest. "Henry." Her voice was deep, rough, but approximating the sounds. Then touched her own chest. "Ah, duh, close enough." Ada she was. The first year brought 3 close calls that nearly exposed everything. Month 7, rifle shots echoed across the valley. Hunting season hadn't started. Poacher, probably. I raced to Ada's shelter and found her already hidden in thick brush, perfectly still, barely breathing. The hunter passed within 50 yards tracking elk, never saw her. Never saw me either, watching from cover. After he left, I found Ada trembling, first time I'd seen her truly afraid. I stayed until dark, keeping watch, and she stayed close to me the entire time. Month 10, Forest Service rangers came to do a timber survey. My property bordered national forest, and they needed to walk the boundary line. I couldn't refuse without raising suspicion, so I agreed, but carefully controlled the route, keeping them well away from Ada's shelter. Ada hid 300 yards away while I talked loudly, constantly, warning her of their presence. The survey took 4 hours, most stressful day of my life. They found her tracks and commented on the massive bear that must live on the property. I didn't correct them. Month 11, a severe windstorm knocked a tree across my access road. I needed help clearing it and had to call my neighbor, Roger Penske. He came with his chainsaw, helped clear the road, then wanted to see the property. I gave him a minimal tour, keeping him strictly to the northern acreage, away from anywhere Ada might be. Roger joked, "What you hiding back there, Hank? Marijuana farm?" I forced a laugh. "Just don't want you getting lost." Lot of deadfalls. He accepted it but looked suspicious. By September 1986, exactly 1 year after finding her, my entire life had transformed. I hadn't dated, hadn't socialized, hadn't done anything but maintain the property and care for Ada. She was healthy, thriving even. We'd developed real communication, gestures, sounds, patterns. She understood dozens of words, I understood her expressions and body language. She brought me food regularly, berries, fish from the creek, once an entire elk haunch that terrified me, because how did she kill an elk? I brought her variety, vegetables, grains, treats. She particularly loved honey. I started buying it in bulk from a supplier in Bellingham. I realized I wasn't lonely anymore. Hadn't even known I was lonely until I wasn't. Ada was companion, friend, responsibility, family. She'd chosen me and I'd chosen her. But I knew it couldn't last forever. Someone would eventually see her, or she'd decide to leave, or I didn't let myself think about other possibilities, just took it one day at a time. The secret was mine to keep, and I'd keep it as long as I lived. Years 2 through 5 deepened everything. I abandoned the main cabin entirely, built a smaller shelter closer to Ada's territory, created hidden paths through the densest forest connecting our areas, established safe zones where she could move without visibility from any roads, installed motion sensors on the property perimeter, early warning system for unexpected visitors. Our communication evolved dramatically. Ada learned approximately 50 to 60 English words: food, water, danger, wait, come, hide, safe, Henry, thank you. I learned her vocalizations. Different rumbles meant different things, a warning bark versus a greeting grunt. We developed hand signals that bridged the gap between our different forms of communication. She showed counting ability one afternoon when I was teaching her numbers. I held up fingers, and she knocked on trees the same number of times. She understood quantity, sequence, pattern. Her intelligence wasn't like a smart animal. It was like a person who simply couldn't speak human language. Our daily routine solidified into comfortable ritual. Mornings I brought breakfast and we ate together, sitting on logs outside her shelter. Middays she foraged and explored while I worked on property maintenance. Evenings were shared time. I'd read aloud sometimes, and she'd listen with complete attention. She groomed her fur while I read. Peaceful coexistence that felt more like home than anything I'd known before. Year 4 brought an unexpected breakthrough. I was carving wood one afternoon, making small animal figures like Grandpa taught me. Ada watched, fascinated, studying every knife stroke. The next day she presented me with rocks arranged in deliberate patterns, designs, not random placement. She was making art. I brought her simple carving tools and showed her basic technique. She learned with shocking speed, those massive hands, surprisingly dexterous. Within months, she was carving representations, trees, animals, even a crude but clearly recognizable figure of me. I kept every piece she made, creating a hidden collection in my shelter. I brought her books with pictures, magazines. She studied them for hours, especially nature photography. I played music for her from a battery-powered radio. She disliked rock music, tolerated country, loved classical, Beethoven especially. She responded emotionally to music, excited by energetic pieces, contemplative during slow movements. I showed her photographs of my family. She studied my grandfather's picture for a long time, then touched my face, then pointed back to the photo. She understood genetic similarity, family connection, lineage. She showed me which plants were edible, which water sources were cleanest, how to read weather signs I'd never noticed. Her tracking skills exceeded anything human. She taught me the forest the way Grandpa never could. By year 5, I understood without doubt. Ada was a person. Not human, but person. She reasoned, planned ahead, created art, communicated abstract concepts, formed deep relationships, experienced complex emotions. She wasn't an animal, she was a non-human person. This realization carried profound ethical weight. I wasn't hiding a creature, I was hiding a person. The responsibility felt heavier somehow. I started documenting everything, kept detailed journals, took photographs carefully stored in waterproof containers, hidden across the property, collected samples of her hair, even obtained a saliva sample once when she curiously allowed me to swab her mouth. Evidence. If something happened to me, if something happened to her, there should be proof she existed, proof she mattered. Summer 1991 brought crisis. Lightning strike started a forest fire 2 miles west, wind pushing it toward my property. Evacuation order issued for the entire area. I refused to leave, couldn't leave Ada. Firefighting crews swarmed everywhere, helicopters with water buckets flying overhead. I told Ada to stay hidden, don't move under any circumstances, while I spent 3 days digging fire break and wetting down the perimeter. The fire came within half a mile before wind shifted and pushed it south instead. Crews never reached the property's interior. When the all clear came, Ada emerged covered in soot. I think she'd been fighting the fire from her side, using her size and strength to break fire lines. We'd survived together. Years 7 through 12 brought deepening intimacy. I turned 40 in 1998. Ada's age was unknown, but she was graying around the muzzle. She wasn't young. We'd been together over a decade, longer than most marriages, certainly the longest relationship of my life. Ada had become protective of me, not just accepting my protection. Once I fell from a ladder while repairing the shelter roof. Her reflexes were inhumanly fast. She caught me before I hit ground, prevented serious injury. She checked me over thoroughly afterward, wouldn't let me leave until satisfied I was okay. I talked to her about everything, my regrets, my dead parents, my loneliness before finding her, my fears about the future. She listened, sometimes touched my shoulder in comfort. We'd created hybrid traditions. Every spring equinox, we walked to the highest point on the property together to watch sunrise. Every winter solstice, I brought special food, she brought evergreen boughs, and we decorated the shelter together. Holidays for two, celebrating existence. I was fully conscious now of what I'd sacrificed. 40 years old, never married, no children, no close friends, couldn't risk friendships. They required honesty I couldn't give. My entire life revolved around protecting Ada. Some days I resented it, most days I didn't. She was my family, the only family that truly mattered. The 1990s brought technological changes that increased danger. Cellular phones, computers, internet. I avoided all of it, too traceable. Kept only the landline, avoided email, paid cash for everything, maintained the lowest profile possible. The modern world was surveillance and satellite imagery and digital footprints. It had been easier to hide in the 1980s. June 1995 brought another close call. 2 college-age hikers got lost, wandered onto my property. Search and rescue arrived. Teams of people, tracking dogs, helicopters, massive intrusion. I cooperated because I had to, but routed searchers carefully away from Ada's areas. Ada hid deeper than ever before. I didn't see her for 3 days. The hikers were eventually found 5 miles away, unrelated to my land. After the searchers left, Ada emerged skittish and fearful, wouldn't let me close for days. The intrusion had traumatized her. It took weeks to rebuild trust. I realized then that she'd been hurt by humans before, long before I found her. She remembered, and those memories ran deep. Years 12 through 20 brought aging concerns for both of us. I was in my mid-40s, developing chronic back pain and bad knees. Ada was visibly grayer, moved slower, sometimes limped on the old injury. Mortality became a real consideration. Fall 2001 brought health crisis. Ada became ill, high fever, lethargy, refusing food. I was terrified. No veterinarian, no doctor, no help available anywhere. I did what I could. Forced fluids, gave fever reducers, monitored constantly. I sat with her for 5 days straight, barely sleeping, watching her deteriorate. She was delirious at times, making sounds I'd never heard. Was she calling for others of her kind? Family long lost? On day 6, the fever broke. She recovered slowly over 3 weeks. I realized I could lose her any time, and there would be nothing I could do. Couldn't take her to a hospital, couldn't call for help. If she died alone, except for me. After her recovery, our relationship shifted. More gentle, more deliberately tender, less taken for granted. Ada groomed my hair sometimes, strange gesture, but clearly affectionate. I brought her favorite foods more often. We spent more time just sitting together, being present with each other. The question I couldn't ask haunted me. Was she the last? In 15 years, I'd never seen evidence of others. No calls in the night, no responses to her vocalizations, no tracks except hers. Was she alone in the world except for me? The loneliness she must feel. I knew my own loneliness, but hers had to be existential. Spring 2003 brought property assessor crisis. County tax reassessment required property inspection. Legal requirement I couldn't refuse. The assessor was thorough, wanted to see all structures for tax purposes. I claimed only my small shelter existed. He insisted on walking the entire property. 5-hour ordeal. I'd warned Ada days before, and she'd cleared out completely. The assessor found her shelter area, but she'd removed all personal items. He saw the structure and photographed it, asking what it was. Bear den, probably, I said, forcing a casual tone. We get big bears out here. He accepted the explanation, and my tax bill increased slightly. Small price for continued secrecy. Years 20 through 30 were quieter in some ways, more intense in others. I was in my 50s. Ada was elderly, fur mostly gray, arthritis clearly visible, sleeping more. We'd been together longer than most human marriages. Communication was nearly wordless now. We read each other perfectly after so many years. Ada made a carving of us together, Henry figure and Ada figure, side by side. I cried when she gave it to me, understanding it was her way of saying what we couldn't say in words. I read her The Velveteen Rabbit, the story about becoming real through being loved. She listened with complete attention, touched the book afterward, then touched my face. She understood the metaphor completely. First time Ada fell was 2009. She stumbled over a root, couldn't catch herself. I helped her up, role reversal from that first day when I'd set her broken leg. Now we were both fragile, both aging, helping each other survive. Technology paranoia increased. Drones appeared, recreational at first, but spreading fast. Satellite resolution improved. Google Earth updated regularly. Trail cameras proliferated. Every hunter had them. I became more vigilant, restricted Ada's ranging. She accepted it without complaint. She was less mobile anyway. Summer 2014 nearly exposed everything. A neighbor's kid flew a recreational drone over my property, camera-equipped. I spotted it and raced to get Ada into shelter before it passed overhead. We barely made it. Next day, I confronted the neighbor. Keep your drone off my property. It spooks my livestock. He apologized, didn't know I had livestock. I demanded privacy. The incident made regional news months later. Bigfoot footage from Washington drone showing blurry figure near trees. It was Ada, edge of frame, barely visible. Footage was debunked as bear or hoax. We'd been seconds from total exposure. Years 30 through 40 were the final decade. I was in my 60s, retired from any pretense of normal work. Ada was ancient now, gray, arthritic, vision clearly fading. She didn't range anymore, stayed close to shelter. Some days she seemed confused, possibly dementia. If her species aged like great apes, She had to be 60-plus years old, extraordinary longevity. Our relationship became mutual caregiving. I brought all food since she couldn't forage effectively. She remained protective. Her hearing was still sharp, alerting me to threats I couldn't detect. We slept closer now, within sight of each other, comfort and presence. I knew she was dying, old age, slowly but inevitably. I should have felt relief, 40 years of secrecy almost over. Instead, I felt grief, losing my best friend, my only family, the being who knew me better than anyone in the world. The world had changed dramatically around us. Property values had skyrocketed. Developers called monthly with increasingly aggressive offers. Climate change affected weather patterns, forest health declining noticeably. Bigfoot sightings were reported more frequently. Were others being pushed into human contact? Government interest in cryptozoology had increased post 9/11. Department of Homeland Security concerns about unknown biological entities. I'd documented 4 decades thoroughly, journals, hundreds of photographs, genetic samples, recordings of vocalizations, Ada's carvings, and artwork, all hidden in waterproof containers buried across the property. Insurance, evidence, legacy. I was prepared for her death. I wasn't prepared for what came instead. I'm 67 years old. Ada's very weak. Some days she can barely stand. I've accepted she'll die soon. Months maybe, not years. I've been planning her burial in a hidden clearing deep in the forest where she'll rest undisturbed forever. Then the drones return. Not civilian drones this time. Government drones, unmarked, military-grade, high altitude. I spot them only because 40 years of paranoia trained my eyes. 3 of them, coordinated search pattern, systematically surveilling my property. I check the property perimeter and find fresh boot prints near the southern border. Professional prints, uniform depth, measured pace, tactical boots. Someone's been observing, gathering intelligence. Over the next 2 weeks, surveillance intensifies dramatically. Drones daily with different flight patterns. Boot prints appear in multiple locations. My cellular signal fluctuates, jammers being tested. Twice I spot vehicles on distant ridgelines, black SUVs with observers using optical equipment. My landline develops an echo I recognize from movies. Wiretapped. They know. Somehow, after 40 years of perfect secrecy, someone knows. I go through possibilities. The 2014 drone footage, did someone analyze it more carefully with better technology? Satellite thermal imaging. Did Ada's heat signature finally register as anomalous? Property record search? 40 years of refusing all development, refusing surveys, allowing no visitors, suspicious pattern? But there's no informant. No one knows except me and Ada. I consider options. Running, taking Ada deeper into wilderness. But she can't travel, too old and weak. Moving her would kill her. Fighting, defending my land with Grandpa's rifle. Suicide mission. Can't win against government resources. Surrendering, turning her over voluntarily. Impossible. Can't, won't. She's a person. You don't hand over family to be dissected. March 28, 2025. They come. 3 black SUVs roll up my access road. No warning, no warrant visible. 8 men in tactical gear, professional movements, not Fish and Wildlife or Forest Service. Something else entirely. The lead man is early 50s, gray hair, suit visible under tactical vest. Mr. Dalton, I'm Deputy Director Michael Reeves, Department of Homeland Security, Special Access Programs Division. We need to talk. I'm holding Grandpa's rifle, not aimed, but present. You need a warrant to be on my property. Reeves remains calm, hands visible. We have federal authorization, classified level above warrant requirements. I need you to put down the rifle. We're not here to hurt you. Then why are you here? You know why. You've known for 40 years. We need to see her, Mr. Dalton. We need to examine the entity you've been harboring. Entity, not it. Entity. They know she's not just an animal. My mind races. Denying is pointless. They're here because they have proof. But admitting, I don't know what you're talking about. Reeves sighs, genuine weariness in his expression. Mr. Dalton, Henry, we've been aware of your situation for some time. We monitored, but didn't intervene because the subject was contained, isolated, and you were providing adequate care. You've done exceptional work, actually. Kept her healthy, kept her hidden. But circumstances have changed. What circumstances? She's dying. When she dies, we need the remains for study, security purposes, scientific understanding. We can't allow physical evidence of the species to remain in civilian hands. She's not remains. She's a person. Her name is Ada. First time in 40 years I've said her name aloud to anyone else. 40 years of secrecy shattered in one moment. Reeves shows no surprise. We know her designation. We've observed your interactions through various means. We know you formed attachment. That's understandable. But this is a matter of national security. National security? She's one old woman who's dying. She's no threat to anyone. She's one old female member of a species the United States government has spent 70+ years keeping secret. Her existence, if conclusively proven, destabilizes multiple scientific fields, challenges religious paradigms, triggers international agreements about territorial sovereignty and species rights. She herself isn't a threat. The knowledge of her existence is the threat. Reeves continues before I can respond. We're not here to arrest you. You've committed no prosecutable crime. Harboring charges only apply to humans, and legally, she doesn't qualify. We're here to offer you a deal. What deal? You allow us access. We document her, collect necessary biological samples, interview you extensively about her biology and behavior. When she dies naturally, we won't harm her or accelerate her death. You allow us to take the remains for classified study. In exchange, you keep your property with no government seizure, you receive compensation for your cooperation, and you're not prosecuted under various technical violations, weapons charges, failure to report biological entity, obstruction of federal research programs. And if I refuse? Your property is seized under eminent domain for national security infrastructure purposes. She's removed anyway, you receive no compensation, and you spend your remaining years fighting legal battles you cannot win because all evidence is classified above any clearance level you could ever obtain. 40 years collapsing into this moment, no real choice, never was a choice. I need to talk to her first. Reeves nods. You have 1 hour. We'll wait here. I walk back to Ada's shelter, knowing they're watching through long-range optics. Ada's awake. She knows something's wrong. Her body language shows tension and fear. I kneel beside her. Ada, people came. Government people. They know about you. They've been watching us. She understands immediately. Her body tenses, fear clear in her eyes. They want to study you, take samples, and when you die, they want to take your body for science. They say, if I don't agree, they'll take you anyway, and I'll lose everything. The land, our home, everything. Ada reaches out with one trembling hand and touches my face. Familiar gesture of connection. I don't know what to do. I can't stop them. I can't protect you from this. I've failed you after 40 years. I'm so sorry. Ada pulls my head to her shoulder, embrace I've received countless times over the decades. She's comforting me even now, even facing this herself. She pulls back, looks directly at me, points toward where the agents wait, then points to herself and nods, then points to me, sweeps her hand across the property protectively, and nods again. I understand. You want me to agree? To let them study you? To keep the property? She nods firmly, points to my heart, then to her heart, then to the ground beneath us, the land we've shared for 40 years. You want me to stay here? Where we've been together. Another nod. She's giving permission, sacrificing her dignity, her body after death, so I can keep our home, our shared place. I break. 40 years of strength crumbles. I sob into her shoulder while she holds me tight, making soft, soothing sounds she learned from me decades ago, sounds meant to comfort frightened creatures. I return to Reeves. I'll cooperate, but I have conditions. Name them. 1. No one touches her without my explicit permission. 2. All examinations happen here on the property where she's comfortable. 3. When she dies, I get 24 hours alone with her body, before you take her. 4. I receive copies of all research findings. 5. You tell me everything you know about her species. I've earned that after 40 years. Reeves considers carefully. Agreed to 1 through 4. 5 is above my authority level, but I'll advocate for partial disclosure. You've been her guardian for 4 decades. You've earned something. 1 more condition. You don't call her it or subject or entity. Her name is Ada. You use her name. Long pause. Reeves extends his hand. Deal. We'll use her name. I shake his hand. Feels like betrayal and survival and the end of everything all at once. The following week, a team of 5 arrives. 2 biologists, 1 geneticist, 1 anthropologist, 1 medical doctor. All carry top-secret clearances, all sworn to secrecy through federal non-disclosure agreements. They bring sophisticated equipment but keep examinations non-invasive per our agreement. I introduce them to Ada. She's frightened, more people at once than she's seen in 40 years. She clings to me, and I stay at her side constantly. It's okay. They're just looking. No one will hurt you, I promise. Day 1 is visual documentation, photography, video recording, physical measurements. Ada tolerates it because I'm present, asking permission before each new procedure. The scientists are professional, but I see awe in their faces. They're witnessing impossibility made flesh. Dr. Sarah Chen, the geneticist, asks me quietly, how is her cognition? Does she understand complex concepts? She understands everything. She knows more than she can communicate. She's a person, doctor, not an animal. Dr. Chen nods slowly. That's going to be in my report. They document her graying fur, her arthritic joints, her old healed injuries, including the original fracture from 40 years ago. They're amazed she survived that injury, amazed I managed to set it successfully. They photograph her tools, her carvings, her artwork. Dr. Marcus Webb, the anthropologist, studies her carvings for hours. This is representational art, abstract symbolism, cultural transmission. My God, she has individual culture. Day 2 brings biological samples, hair, saliva, blood draws, using minimal volumes. Ada allows it because I ask her to, because I hold her hand through each procedure. She looks to me constantly for reassurance. The blood draw is hardest. Dr. Patricia Ruiz uses a veterinary-sized needle. Ada growls, shows teeth, only time during the entire process. I hold her hand. Just a pinch. Almost done. You're being so brave. Ada squeezes my hand, careful even in distress not to hurt me despite her strength. After samples are collected, Dr. Ruiz speaks to me privately. Her blood work shows significant organ decline, kidney failure, advanced stage. She has maybe 3 months maximum. I'm very sorry. I already knew, but hearing medical confirmation is devastating. Days 3 through 5 involve communication assessment. They test comprehension, word recognition, object identification, problem-solving tasks. Ada cooperates minimally. She's exhausted, uncomfortable with strangers, wants them gone. But she demonstrates enough, understands over 60 words, responds to complex 2-step commands, shows object permanence, theory of mind, tool use, symbolic representation. Dr. Webb writes his preliminary report where I can see over his shoulder, subject demonstrates cognitive capabilities equivalent to 5 to 7-year-old human child, possibly higher with proper assessment tools. Shows clear indicators of self-awareness, emotional complexity, cultural behavior, symbolic communication. Subject should be classified as non-human person under proposed framework for great ape rights. Strongly recommend legal protection under expanded definition of personhood. I ask Webb quietly, will they listen? Will your report change anything? Webb looks sad. Classified reports rarely change policy. They just document what we're willing to hide. Day 6, Reeves provides the briefing he promised. In my small shelter, classified documents spread across the table. What I'm about to tell you is classified special access program, compartmented beyond top secret. You're receiving temporary clearance as subject matter expert. This information doesn't leave this room. I nod agreement. Reeves continues. The species you call Bigfoot, official designation Gigantopithecus americanus, though that's scientifically provisional, has been known to U.S. government since 1953. Verified, documented, studied covertly for 72 years. Population estimated between 200 and 600 individuals in North America, concentrated in Pacific Northwest, remote Appalachia, Northern Rockies. 200! My world spins. She's not alone in the world. She is now. Her population, the Cascade Group, declined severely in the 1990s and 2000s. Habitat loss, climate change, genetic bottleneck effects, vehicle collisions, human encroachment. We tracked 12 individuals in this region in 1990. By 2015, only 3 remained. Now, just her. She's the last of the Cascade population. You knew she was here. You watched her suffer alone for years and did nothing. We monitored. We don't intervene. Our mandate is documentation and containment, not active protection. That was your job. And honestly, you did it better than any government program could have. Why hide them? Why not protect them officially, legally? Reeves leans back. Because the moment we admit they exist officially, we admit 72 years of cover-up and active concealment, congressional investigations, international implications. Canada, Russia, China all have their own populations and their own secrecy protocols. Legal battles about personhood rights, land use claims, potentially treaty obligations if they're deemed sentient species. Scientific paradigm upheaval, religious community crisis, social disruption. We lose control of the narrative entirely. Better to keep it classified, manage it quietly, let them fade away without public knowledge. While they go extinct quietly. Yes, that's absolutely monstrous. That's pragmatic governance. I didn't create the policy, I just enforce it. Then your policy killed her entire family, her entire population. Reeves has no answer. Day 7, Ada weakens dramatically. The stress of examinations has accelerated her decline. The team backs off, won't push her further. I sit with her day and night. She's dying faster now. Weeks, not months. She makes a sound I've heard only a handful of times, soft vocalization, mournful, full of longing. Are you calling for them? Your family, your people? She touches her chest, then mine, then makes the sound again. I understand completely. We're family. You and me. We're family now. She nods, closes her eyes, rests with my hand clasped in hers. That night, I write a complete document, full account of 40 years, all documentation locations, statement for eventual public release. I give copies to Dr. Chen and Dr. Webb. If they classify everything, if they hide her existence forever, release this someday. Let people know she was real, that she mattered. Promise me. Dr. Chen has tears in her eyes. We promise. I also write a letter to Reeves. When this is over, when she's gone, I'm going public eventually. Not immediately, but someday. You can't stop me without killing me, and that creates bigger problems. I'll wait until I'm old enough that prison doesn't matter anymore, and I'll make absolutely sure the world knows what you let die quietly. I seal it for delivery when the time comes. Ada is my family. The world will know she existed, that she died alone, except for one human who loved her. That's my decision. She won't be forgotten. Ada enters her final decline, refuses all food, breathing becomes severely labored, kidneys shutting down systematically. Dr. Ruiz offers palliative drugs to make her comfortable. I accept. Morphine equivalent, carefully calculated dosage. The research team departs, nothing more to learn, giving her dignity in death. Only Reeves remains at a distance, respectful observer. I move into her shelter completely. 40 years ago, I brought supplies to her. Now I'm bringing only myself. We're together at the end. Ada wakes briefly in the morning, lucid, aware, knowing it's ending. I talk to her, tell stories of our 40 years together, first meeting, her injury, how terrified I was. Learning to communicate across species barriers, building shelter together, the fire that nearly took everything, her beautiful carvings, every close call, every quiet moment of peace. You saved me, Ada. I was so profoundly alone before you, didn't even realize it. You gave me family, purpose, meaning. You taught me what truly matters, not money, not success, not others' opinions. Just being there for someone who needs you, just loving someone completely different from yourself. That's what matters in this life. Ada reaches up with tremendous effort and touches my face one final time, her massive hand so impossibly gentle. She makes a soft sound, then draws something in the dirt with one finger. Two figures, side by side, together. Her last message, we're together. Always, I whisper through tears, always together. She closes her eyes. Breathing slows steadily. I hold her hand, talk softly. You're going somewhere good now. Somewhere you'll see them again, your family, your people, everyone you've lost. You won't be alone anymore. And maybe someday I'll find you there. We'll walk that forest together again in whatever comes next. 12:47 p.m. Ada's breathing stops. I feel for her pulse, that massive, powerful heart, flutter weakly and then still completely. She's gone. I sit with her body for 3 hours, can't move, can't process reality. 40 years, more than half my life, and she's gone. The silence is absolutely devastating. For 4 decades there's been someone else, another presence, another heartbeat nearby. Now, there's only me. Finally, I stand on shaking legs, walk outside. Reeves is there, maintaining respectful distance. She's gone, Reeves nods solemnly. I'm genuinely sorry for your loss. You have your 24 hours per agreement. I need help moving her. She's too heavy for me alone. Reeves calls 2 agents. Together, 4 men carefully carry Ada's body to the burial site I prepared months ago. Deep in the forest, hidden clearing, ancient cedar trees surrounding us. We dig the grave 8 feet deep, proper burial depth. I wrap her in the blanket she loved, add her favorite carvings, the copy of The Velveteen Rabbit I read to her, a photograph of us together that Dr. Chen took, personal effects for her final journey. We lower her gently into the ground. I speak no formal religion, just words straight from my heart. Ada, friend, family. You were better than most humans I've ever known. Kinder, smarter, more patient, more loving. This world didn't deserve you, but I'm grateful beyond words that I knew you. Sleep well now. You're truly home. I fill in the grave by hand, won't let the agents help with this final act. Takes 4 hours of backbreaking work. When finished, I mark the site with a stone cairn. Only I will ever know what it means. April 20th, 2025. Per our agreement, I allow exhumation. The team arrives with specialized equipment. They're professional and respectful. Dr. Chen apologizes repeatedly. They place her in a specialized container, temperature controlled, hermetically sealed. She'll be taken to a classified facility for complete necropsy, genetic analysis, tissue preservation, skeleton mounting. I watch them load her into the truck. Feels like ultimate betrayal, even though I agreed, even though she told me to agree. Before they leave, Dr. Chen gives me an envelope. Preliminary DNA analysis. Thought you deserved to see this. Inside, genetic report. Confirms distinct species diverged from human evolutionary line approximately 10 million years ago. Parallel evolution. Fully sapient brain structure comparable to humans. Conclusion. Subject represents non-human person. Strongly recommend reclassification of species as protected sentient entity. Won't matter. Report will be classified forever. But I have my copy. Evidence. Dr. Webb gives me another envelope. Memory card, every photograph, every video, every measurement we took. Copy for your records, classified on our end, but you have it now. Small rebellions by scientists who understand what's right. It's November 2025 now. Ada's been gone 6 months, though some days it feels like yesterday, other days like years. The property maintains that hollow quiet, not peaceful silence, empty silence, the kind that echoes with absence. I walk to her grave every single day. The cairn still stands, though I've added to it. Smooth river stones, pieces of cedar, small, meaningful objects. No one but me knows what's buried there. To anyone else, it's just rocks in the woods. To me, it's the most sacred place on earth. I'm 67 years old and completely alone now. Some days I wonder what my life would have been if I'd walked away that September day in 1985. If I'd left her with her broken leg, reported the sighting, let nature or government take its course. I probably would have married, had children, normal career, normal friends, normal life, retirement parties and grandchildren and everything people are supposed to have. But I would have missed Ada, and that would have been infinitely worse than anything. The cost was everything. Let's be honest, no wife, no children, no real friendships. I'm 67 and alone. My neighbors think I'm strange. I have no retirement beyond this property. I've lived like a hermit for 4 decades. Some people would call that a wasted life. Maybe they're right. But I knew her. I knew a person no one else will ever know. I heard her laugh, saw her create art, held her hand while she died. How many people can say they truly knew someone, completely, totally, 40 years of daily intimate contact? Most marriages don't achieve that depth. Was it worth it? On bad days, I genuinely don't know. Most days, yes. Absolutely yes. Ada's body is in some federal facility now, labeled and cataloged and reduced to specimen. Her DNA populates databases I'll never access. Her bones are probably mounted somewhere for classified researchers to study. But I have the truth. 40 years of journals, hundreds of photographs, genetic samples I secretly kept, recordings, her carvings hidden across the property. Evidence that can't be completely classified away because it's mine, not theirs. In 6 years, 2031, when Reeves retires as promised, I'm going public. Carefully, credibly, undeniably. I'll be 73 years old. Prison won't be pleasant. But at that age, worth it for her memory. Ada's story will be told. Her species will be acknowledged even if extinct by then. She won't vanish into government secrecy. People will know. Ada existed. Ada mattered. Ada was a person who deserved so much better. Here's what I learned from 40 years with her. Intelligence comes in forms we refuse to recognize. Personhood isn't limited to humans. Someone can be different from you in absolutely every way. Different species, different biology, different communication, and still be family. The world contains wonders we're desperate to deny because acknowledging them requires changing fundamental assumptions. Easier to classify, hide, pretend they don't exist. And loneliness isn't about being physically alone. I was lonely before Ada, surrounded by humans. I wasn't lonely with her, despite seeing no other people for months at a time. Real connection matters more than conformity. I hope there are more of them out there somewhere. I hope the government's extinction predictions are wrong. I hope that deep in untouched forests, away from humans and satellites and development, there's a family group surviving, maybe thriving. I hope they're smarter than Ada was, smart enough to stay hidden forever. Because if they're discovered, if they reveal themselves, our government will do to them exactly what they did to Ada. Study, classify, contain, and let die quietly while denying they ever existed. Better to remain cryptids than become classified specimens. It's November evening now, cold, early darkness falling. I'm standing at Ada's grave with a blanket around my shoulders, feeling the cold more at 67. The cedar trees around us are the same ones that stood here 40 years ago when I found her. Same forest, same eternal silence. I talk to her like I do every day. Hey, old girl, found another one of your carvings today, the elk you made. Remember that big bull that used to come around? You captured him perfectly. Wind moves through the trees, almost sounds like her answering rumble. I let myself believe it is. Miss you every single day, Ada, but I'm keeping my promise. 6 more years, then everyone knows. Your story. Our story. The world will know you were real. I rest my hand on the cairnstones. You were the best friend I ever had, best family. You made my life matter when I thought it didn't. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for 40 extraordinary years. The wind picks up, carrying that clean cedar smell I've known all my life. Somewhere out there in the darkness, maybe others of her kind are settling in for the night. Maybe not. Either way, Ada's finally at rest. I turn back toward my shelter. Tomorrow I'll return, like I do every day. Every day, until I physically can't walk anymore, I'll be here. Some secrets are worth keeping for 40 years. Some are worth revealing eventually. Ada taught me the difference between the two. That was her final gift, knowing what truly matters. Loyalty first, love second. Truth when the time is right. And I'll carry that knowledge until I die, just like I'll carry her memory forever.